this work study session of the City Council. Mr. Vice Mayor, would you like to lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Sure. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started, I want to let everybody know who may not know, Councilman Brainerd Watson did some damage to her back for a couple of vertebrae, so she's not going to be here tonight. So we wish her well. She sounds like she's in a lot of pain, so it may be a little bit for her to get fully recovered. With that, I guess we'll go directly into Camelback and Litchfield Road and project improvement updates.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council, good evening. Randy Proch, your planning director. I am here before you on this work study session to go over the numerous projects we have around Hilltop and our friends here at Summit Health. Work study session, so interrupt me, ask questions, very just simple zoomed in photos of the various projects around these two corridors. If anything come up, let me know. So we're going to run from west to east, from south to north, and we'll kind of sweep our way up to the edge of the city as we head towards Luke Air Force Base. So on this first one, something that does come up quite often is where exactly are we? Where exactly is Goodyear? So I've highlighted this here in the grayed out portion for the Goodyear city limits. It's somewhere in that right turn lane. Where exactly? That's for a surveyor to tell me, but I'd rather not be out in traffic. So the first project we wanted to talk about is the signal at Village Parkway. This is a 50% cost with the Sun Health, that's SH development agreement, VA. This is February Council for approval of the design contracts. Construction is set for this fall, and Sun Health plans to use SUNT. SUNT is the construction or the contracting company that is doing the road, Litchfield Road project. When that one is done, we see opportunity amongst our two groups. And thank you for sitting so close. This makes it easy. We see opportunity to partner in that effort. It's not something the city has chosen. It is your discretion as council to see how that would all work, but we do see opportunity again. This would create, your dedicated lanes to turn left or right out of this intersection. Now, this is not a final design by any means. This is not what we're here to tell you about tonight. This is just exhibits and depictions of our future plans. Number two, I'd love to put the seal in the middle of the roundabout. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm hoping so. So this is about midpoint. If you're wondering, that little escape road out is off screen. This is almost about midpoint of the Sun Health's frontage. If you could imagine some of their newer developments, there's traffic circles that are interior to those roads, like Edith. This basically comes straight south onto Camelback Road. You'll note again, this is part of the same information presented already. 50% costs with Sun Health through the development agreement. February Council about a design contract. Plans for this fall for construction, and same thing with SUNT.
Is this layout of the roads the way the roundabout lays out something you did or something the engineers put together?
Mr. Vice Mayor, I did with Keith's guidance as our city engineer. It is cattywampus on purpose. We have used every tool we know and federally allowed to create calm environments and to create traffic calming and speed mitigation efforts. So the road tapers up and down as it moves through the corridor. There's no way to go straight and end up on the other end. I do need to marry up with Litchfield Road intersection and with the city of Goodyear's our city limits. But in between there, we traverse slightly up, slightly down. If you can think of it, it's very similar to Litchfield Road as you approach Luke Air Force Base. Suddenly here, and then the road kind of tapers away. This is the same thing, but creating very specific design corridors with the medians landscaping.
You talking elevation or meandering?
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. It is meandering in like a snake, not like a, I don't know how to finish for that analogy, just back and forth, horizontally.
So in this particular section, it looks like we've got a new edge of pavement is closer to the wall in areas where there aren't homes, and we've got edge of pavement further away from the homes as it transitions here east of this traffic circle. Is that intentional?
Yes, I've done everything I can to give guidance. Just don't let the planner design rooms, please. He's the expert. I just trust. And so, yes, in areas that there are no homes, Councilmember Fraser, to your point, the road is a little bit closer against homes. It's a little bit further. We do the same thing. I don't know if it's on the next slide. I'm going to jump ahead real quick. It is on the next slide as well, just as far as how that chicanery traverses through the corridor.
Would you address the private loop road as well?
Thank you. So to City Manager Matthews' point, the internal loop road, or this disconnected?
Sun Health Loop Road.
So the Sun Health Loop Road, not shown on screen, basically connects Missouri at the north part of the Hilltop project, just north of there, and loops around all existing developments. If you can imagine the Sun Health property, some of those roads have been started to come up and around on the west end. It would just continue through there and continue on this internal loop. That internal loop would connect south. It's not part of the loop road, but it would connect south to this roundabout.
Thank you.
Is that dedicated public right of way, or is that a private road?
So it is not our intention to take on additional right of way. It is part of Sun Health's private roads, which all roads currently within the Sun Health campus are private.
In the DA, it's private roads.
Yes.
And then one final question on this slide. So the exit for the greens is off to the west. Is that going to be right in, right out?
At this time, Councilmember Fraser, it is shown in that way. Again, these are conceptual depictions.
Right out. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it is an exit gate, just an egress, not an ingress. Number 3, big old conceptual letters on top of this. We don't plan 200 passes. Could be either of these locations. It could be neither of these locations. That is for a future conversation. So this is their current main entry, which is named La Loma. Oh, no, sorry, it's not Denny Boulevard North. That intersects with Denny Boulevard West. This, as part of the DA and as part of the design, is a what we call a 3/4 movement, a left in only. However, leaving Sun Health, you cannot take a left out. That is for safety above anything and everything as far as how these corridors of regional importance work safely. This would create dedicated right turn lanes into Litchfield Park Pools, the dedicated right turn lanes into the Sun Health campus, as well as to the current Aunt Mary's house for future reuse sites. And as Councilmember Fraser illustrated earlier, this is in our location that I've pushed the road as far north as possible against the Sun Health frontage, where the curbs have already been set by Sun Health, and we're just marrying up with that. Now, as mentioned, these are 2 possible underpass locations. It'll be through a DCR. A DCR design concept report will give us the pros, the cons, alternatives analysis, estimated costs, a big asterisk that says as of 2026. That's change on a daily basis, and it never seems to go down. It only seems to go up. There's been no funding approved for this location for any sort of underpass, and certainly we would coordinate our efforts with Sun Health and their future commercial site to see what makes sense. We do think there's a bit of a diminishing return the further you get away from either Village Parkway or from Litchfield Road, as far as having a golf cart trek 1/4 mile, 1/2 mile down to go under to come back 1/4 mile or 1/2 mile in either location. So we think the destinations of the commercial center make sense for this to be studied further. But again, through the DCR, all options are on the table.
The current, excuse me, the current entrance that they're using now, will that still have access back to the high school and the library?
So, Councilmember Claire, as of today, and I'm gonna look off screen real quick, it is in vehicular ingress and easement, but not an emergency easement. Thank you. So there is an easement in place. We've never had to exercise that easement for vehicular access. I think the original DA had contemplated such things that we would have events on the hilltop that would require overflow parking. And it's for both parties' benefits. If Sun Health had an event that needed overflow parking up there, I will tell you in about 2 weeks' time, all of that's going to be torn up for the new sewer line connection from the school into Sun Health. They'll be restored as is. It is not ready for traffic. It's ready for a golf cart or a pedestrian to make that connection from Sun Health, but it is not improved for vehicular traffic.
And I'm more concerned about walkers, bikes, golf carts.
Yes, for sure. And the school has been sited and situated so that that midpoint location is at grade with the adjacent road. You get walls on either end as you move your way west or east. That's intended for that location. And that's why the crosswalks and the staircase up to the bandstand are all aligned.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just to be clear, that's not being designed so parents could come into the Sun Health property, drop off their kids at the high school in any way. Correct?
Absolutely not. There's no, we will be out there. We've headed all the way to the east to the intersection of Litchfield Road. Just finishing up this improvements along Camelback Road. There is a bit of work that has to be done with the signal. Not major work that needs to be done with the signal, but it does need to be adjusted slightly back at that northwest corner. If you ever notice, there should always be a signal head for every lane of traffic. One is missing. One has been missing since the jump. So we can finally address those and have the signal heads where they should be over each lane of traffic. Moving forward. So we've taken a left turn. The Hilltop and Luke Air Force Base is to your right. So to the right is north. So underneath my big orange information block is Panda Express. We always talk about Panda Denny. You can see on the top of that image, Denny Boulevard future, as far as that perfect alignment to make that traffic signal function, and the current Denny where it is offset. And as these improvements come into play, the correct and final alignment of Denny will be set with the Litchfield Road improvement projects that Sun Health and Sunt are working on. This is still the location of the underpass to connect kids from the school to all of the food and drink options in the Fry's Plaza over there. And then this is also the start of the 25-mile-an-hour zone. And I know it's not part of our conversation tonight, but I do want to get the information as far as this is a school zone now. Traffic will be slowed a little bit further than what it is. So Sun Health is designing this Denny Road realignment as part of let's call it phase 1B of this corridor improvement. If the Litchfield Road improvements is 1A, the Denny alignment and traffic signal is 1B. This is a 50% cost with our 2020 development agreements. We are still working with 4 or 5 different groups within the Fry's Plaza that have rights to this driveway. We think we can work through that just fine without altering much, if anything. And this is currently under design through Sun Health. Number 6, 2 bits of information on this one. Again, me drawing roundabout, the real roundabout looks much better than this. So bear with me on this conceptual idea. So I talked about it a little bit already, the underpass of Brenton, it is 100% a city cost. It was, and we'd like to just reiterate this time to time, it was planned and designed as such to be in this location. Sun Health has a bit of a parcel line that follows the hilltop. Their trail follows that same alignment. It all kind of leads to this point. This was also the depiction within the zoning ordinance adoption previously that said exactly what this would be to connect to a commercial center that ended up becoming part of Sunset Terrace, part of the Fry's Plaza. I'm in the Wayback Machine with this one. That zoning requirement was removed in future amendments. So that's long since passed, but we do think they were onto something there, and it still makes sense in this location. Now, this was, approved last year for design and engineering. We are at 30% plans. We're getting closer. We're trying to fit it and not affect the roundabout project, the Litchfield Road improvement projects, drainage improvements. It's tricky by all means. So we have not awarded this to any sort of contractor yet. It is still under design with CED, which is Collier's Engineering and Development Design. Thank you, former Hildegard Wilson. And we do anticipate going under construction this fall. The other part, the roundabout, if you've seen the trucks out there, you can find Hayden trucks, McCarthy trucks, Sun trucks, and now Nesbitt trucks. Nesbitt is out there already starting work as much as they can with McCarthy doing the water line tie-in overnights. This is, again, 100% cost to us, is part of our development agreement with the Agua Fria Union High School District. It was approved late last year and will be done. Will be done by the time school opens. We received the 90% plans yesterday.
You go back 1 second.
I may.
Couple quick things there. One, just to clarify. So the underpass will not start until this fall. The roundabout will be over when school opens. Two different projects. The roundabout is a component of the Agua Fria DA. The underpass is no part of the Agua Fria DA. As he said, the underpass was originally planned. That was in documents pre-2002. That underpass was supposed to be paid pre-2002, half by Sun Health, half by a development that was going to be built where Fry's is today. But of course, Fry's didn't come until much later. And when those documents were done years later, the underpass, for whatever reason, was not included in those documents. For example, if you read the 2020 Sun Health DA, you will not find the words underpass in that DA. For whatever reason, they're not there. So while the obligation was there at one time to split between Fry's and Sun Health, that obligation went away 20 years ago. But as he said, the land lines lay, if you look at the lines, you can see exactly where it was supposed to be because it's still drawn up that way on the parcels. So that makes sense. But again, the underpass would start this fall. And the reason why is the utilities are the main reason for that. We've been working with Southwest Gas on that. And of course, again, the roundabout itself will open this fall. And one thing on that, so when the roundabout gets built, for several months, Litchfield Road will be 1 lane north and 1 lane south. So we look forward to the traffic and the headaches that will cause. And we encourage you, if you're going north or south, to take Fiserv. So just aware that is coming. Councilmember Claire.
Destruction of, so we're gonna be building all this new. Are we gonna be tearing up the new stuff that we've put in months later?
We will do base grade in that area, sir, so we don't have finished asphalt where the underpass is gonna be. In a perfect world, you would build them all at the same time, but because of the utilities, you can't. And because we're on such a tight timeline, but again, the timeline doesn't require the underpass. So yes, sir, you will dig up some of the things you just built. Yes, sir.
Hopefully only about a 20-foot area, just to drop the box.
Thank you.
You will.
One thing you might notice, sir, I'm sorry,
No worries.
is that again, it is a 2 lane north, 2 lane south. If you see the right-hand southbound lane, of course, turns into the school and also heads south. We do hear this question, are parents dropping off their students going to stop this roundabout? A roundabout can't stop, right? You can't have a line of traffic stop a roundabout. So if you could zoom out, the way the parental drop-off line comes in, it goes all the way around the parking lot, back around to the school. So there's a long way for parental drop-off line to be without being actually in Litchfield Road, if that makes sense. It was designed that way on purpose. So again, your right-hand lane would turn into the school where your inner lane would keep going south, if that makes sense. Again, it is a 4-lane roundabout.
Is it 4 lanes going into the school?
No, sir.
2 lanes going into the school? So if these cars start backing up in there, can we still get to the library and get out?
So, Vice Mayor, there's 1 lane that is into the school, like there's 1 lane out of the school. This on the side streets, it's one out of Sunset Terrace, 1 into Sunset Terrace. So when you enter into Brinton Avenue, there are two lanes, one to turn left to go to the school, one to turn right to go to the library. The nice thing about the morning traffic is that the library and school hours do not align. They're way off from each other. In the afternoon, it could be a little bit trickier. The entry into the campuses does not have a stop sign once you get to the T and have to take a left or a right intentionally, because I have to push as many cars as I can to go through the entirety of the parking lot all the way to the terrace, and then U-turn all the way back along the theater, the school, into the traffic circle. It's a half a mile of cars I can fit. They were very kind in their conversations with us. I've had to do, queuing analysis at other municipalities and other districts previous to this. And this is as good as we could possibly imagine. And if we had to even double stack the cars within the parking lot, we could. So we're very hopeful.
So, Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
so if we have an event in that lawn up there, that event's gonna have to be scheduled someplace away from school going in and out because of the way this is designed?
So Vice Mayor, once you're into the site, everyone turns left to go to the school, everyone turns right to go to the museum, the library, or any sort of events in that terrace. There's only one rush of cars for the school in the afternoon at 2:15, 2:30, whenever that dismissal time is. Otherwise, the site is essentially free as far as cars coming and going. Beyond that pickup window of that 15 to 20 minutes, there shouldn't be any conflicts. We're ensuring, contractually stipulating the schools that the school can never have an event when the theater is in use, the theater can never have an event when the school is in use. We think we have enough wiggle in their design and ours to not have that sort of backup. We would also want to make sure that we do not egress the times that they egress. So if the theater gets out 10 p.m., we wouldn't want our event to end at 10 p.m. We're pretty good about our events being all day events instead of just everyone show up for this 1 hour thing. So that's something we can work with special events to make sure that there isn't that sort of conflict.
Is there any kind of backup plan to get out of this area if it turns out there is a problem with access?
We show them the fire gate.
You have to think, you have to remember, you got, because of the length of the queue, probably got room for 300 cars in the queue before you impact that intersection. So I mean, it's very unlikely that it's gonna be a problem.
Do we have a second means of ingress and egress of this area? Is this gonna be the only one?
Vice Mayor, for emergency reasons, we have a second point. However, for vehicular day-to-day traffic, we do not. Right underneath my big orange blob there, you'll notice a little rectangle of DG. That is for the fire truck to mount the curb, go through their landscape area, and then go back down to the parking lot grade in case of emergency. However, this is the one location. Now, the only other option is here, but that is for buses, Shamrock Farms, the band's tour bus to pull in, and that doesn't really solve anything, and it's an ingress movement only.
But it gives the fire department another access point.
That's correct, it does.
Okay. Okay.
Is there possibility of a road connecting from the Missouri alignment and the ring road that you discussed into the north side of the parking lot?
Would you like me to discuss this one?
I was hoping they'd come up to the podium.
Conversation with Sun Health about an access from, potentially from Missouri. And so far, the answer is no. We should not count on that.
The library's parking lot, Councilman Frazier does have a stub, a driveway stub that ends at our property line with hopes. We've completed our turn all the way up to the north end at Missouri, where our city limits end. On the east side, our city limits go a little further north on the west, the rest of the Sun Health campus. This is again the start of the 25-mile-an-hour zone. This is a traffic signal currently already under design. There's a couple things that are specific about this one. There is no contractor at this time for construction. We do have EPS that is working on the design. We have to coordinate with McDOT and the city of Glendale that have a little bit of rights of way on the north end, depending on where we put that signal pole. It could be Glendale, it could be McDOT. It's a very odd situation, but all three parties are in agreement. We have that IGA that has been completed. The design, again, as mentioned, was under 50,000, so it's already been started. And we do have verbal support from Agua Fria Union High School District to have a contribution of $500,000 towards this. Adjacent ways is the way they phrase it, to help in situations they pause, I think is the most fair way to say that. This is also a cost recovery ordinance specific situation. Once Missouri, that loop road would come in with Sun Health. And this is also the northern terminus of the roundabout improvements. So to the extent of the conversation, you would think that essentially there's new pavement from this intersection to Camelback Road with a little section of 20 feet wide that's a little less than, so we can dig it up and then put the final coat once the box culvert is in for that underpass.
Those are clear.
Might be a silly question. Your 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, 7:30 to 4, is that the plan through the entirety of the day, or is it going to be windows in the morning and then back in the afternoon?
So thank you, Councilmember, for your question. I only have a few different depictions of that sign already baked into that. So that is welcome for a conversation. I never seem to get Litchfield Elementary correct. I always end up doing 15 regardless, because I'm not sure if it's an early release day or not an early release day, or if it's spring break or what have you. So there are different ways to determine what would work best.
Randy, can you go back to the previous slide, please? So if I am coming up, if I'm coming north on Litchfield from Camelback, can you walk me through how I would access the library, please?
Certainly. You would want to be in the left lane, the passing lane. You would approach the roundabout, enter the roundabout, and take a left turn into the site. Once you're on site, there will appear to you a left turn or a right turn lane. We'll have signs, we'll have striping. I also have plans for signs once you get to that T intersection.
So it's very similar to how the one works at on Litchfield.
It is as verbatim as possible with the same design underneath that, again, looks better than this. Moving forward.
We go back to 7 for a second.
I agree.
Just, I'd like you to understand the jurisdictions on this one, because this one, as he said, is very complicated. So Missouri is split by the center line. Missouri south of the center line is Litchfield Park. Missouri north of the center line is county. Dreaming Summit is county. Litchfield Road, north of that signal, is Glendale, but literally the road itself. The desert to the left, that's Sun Health, is Litchfield Park. On the left-hand side of Litchfield Road, Litchfield Park runs all the way up to the parking lot where the Green Church is. So it's just where you've got a lot going on here between different entities as far as who owns what. Like, you literally have 3 on that one intersection. So again, you've got the road owned by county, by Glendale. Again, that's part of the annexation discussion we've been having in Glendale for some time, as you know. Again, Dreaming Summit is county, and the desert is Sun Health. So just a lot of moving pieces there with that intersection. Thank you.
Number 8, and I have partially covered up the roundabout because we don't know if it's a roundabout, and I didn't mind opaquing this intersection. So when you don't know which it is, you call it a traffic device. I'm using Keith's terms. I like them too. So some sort of traffic device will be via no way, either a roundabout, a traffic signal, changes to the median, to be determined. Again, this will be through a design concept report, pros, cons, cost, alternatives. And as I should have mentioned earlier, one of the alternatives is always a no build. Don't change anything, leave as is. So all of those will be studied through that DCR. There's no funding approved for this yet. There is a possible cost recovery ordinance with Dale Creek Equestrian Center, the Gurus, should that property ever develop. And I've highlighted here in the red some of the more unique challenges of this location. It is not a plug and play solution for any means. There is already and would remain a dedicated left into the Gurus property over here. There is a bit of a road, and I use that in quotations, that makes this connection over to this private development in the county. They also have a bit of a bridge and a bit of a road that gets them directly into this location. So whatever we do, we of course want to focus on our folks, make sure it's safe, but there are two other partners in this effort, I would say, as well as any sort of effect we would have on the drainage channel to figure this all out. And, you know, we appreciate the opportunity to do this DCR so we can all come in with the most amount of information we can on this location.
Same principle of the meandering medians will be remediating the entirety of Camelback.
So, Councilmember Claire, the goods and the bads. This section of Camelback Road is somewhat done. It's been done for a long time. The channel that ran down the middle was relocated to the north. Curbs were set. What is missing is the sidewalks on the south side with landscaping, some streetlights down the middle. It hasn't been considered to realign and slither back and forth, as so much of it's ready to go. If that is something you'd like us to explore through the DCR, we can certainly make adjustments. I can't say with certainty that I have the same amount of desert I do on the other section, as I do have the wall, a bit of a utility corridor with some sidewalk we need to place, as well as the drainage on the north. It's anything, you can engineer anything with the costs associated with it.
This may be a dumb question, but is there land maybe on the other side of that drainage ditch for a golf cart path to somehow come out of Old Litchfield, go through the roundabout, get across the ditch and go down to Fry's?
Vice Mayor Faith, I can't say with certainty how much right of way is left north of the channel.
There's room on the north side of town. Or
That's also a good point.
it's Glendale Street.
It's a good
The
point.
county and Glendale that really control that land, not Litchfield.
Right. I'm not asking about the control aspect of it as much as if there's is a possibility physically.
There's a maintenance route on the whole, roughly the whole north side of that channel that would. Regardless of jurisdiction.
Now, whether or not it could be considered trespassing or how they would feel about a motorized vehicle. We have very specific Litchfield Park laws that permit golf carts where they are permitted.
And IGA might take care of all those kind of problems with whoever controls that land, but I don't know if we can get out of being the wave across Camelback to that path. But it would be, you know, I think a great amenity for citizens trying to get to Fry's in a golf cart
Certainly.
or a bicycle or
Yep.
whatever.
And I would tell you that years on MAC committees, this sort of sub-regional connection that has partner agencies involved is always favored, as far as it's not just for the benefit of one, it's for the benefit of more.
Thank you.
Last up, this is something we've talked about underway, but this is something that can be included in the right turn lane at Dysart. This is an option to combine projects, essentially a bit of sidewalk, a bit of a right turn lane, a bit of a wall. The curb over here is in the right location. The planner is telling you it's in the right location, just so we're on the same page. I have not gotten out there and surveyed, marked it myself, but we think someone was thinking ahead, because if you've seen, when you're sitting here at the red light, people make this 3 lanes all the time to take a right-hand turn lane because there's a bit of a shoulder and a bit of an asphalt to do so. So this would formalize all of that. We'd continue the bike lanes as intended through the intersection. And this was approved pre-me in April of 2024. This is the last slide I have on updates around Litchfield and Camelback.
It's like 90 votes.
That design is 95% done. happy to answer any further questions.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
How wide are the lanes on Camelback at this point as opposed to the lanes on the other side of Litchfield Road? We were talking about meandering and narrowing, and this is basically a long raceway between Dyser and Litchfield Road.
Yes, so maybe we can combine answers here. If I don't have the room on right of way and shoulders, I may have the room in pavement to reduce lane widths in order to accomplish the same goal. I've done that plenty in my career where, you know, we've created either bike lanes or even buffered bike lanes to reallocate lanes. I can't say road diet because people don't seem to like that term. It's a reallocation of lane widths that promotes safety, alternative modes of transportation, as well as pushes the vehicle further away from the sidewalk. Because this is a situation where the car is adjacent to the sidewalk. Any sort of room I can add to that to keep the car further away is certainly a benefit.
Don't we need to do that all the way down? I mean, you're talking about calming features west of Litchfield Road.
Mhm.
Between Litchfield and Camelback, what kind of calming features are we incorporating besides a roundabout possibly?
Sure, at this time, we haven't taken that a step further. But I appreciate the council's discussion and direction this evening so we can start thinking about this a bit more, not just for the roundabout, but for the corridor itself.
Thought we already,
Well, again, we have to look at that as we try to design Camelback. And you've got constraints because of Glendale strips, you know, that we only control so much of that road.
right,
And it's an issue in terms of the canal that goes down the side, and I've forgotten now which side, we're on this side to the south of that canal. aren't we?
Yes, that's correct.
We've already run into issues with that already. I mean, it's possible, but you can't move that, you can't really move that curb very much without impacting that canal. Then you're talking about literally
which canal are you talking about? The Wigwam Canal, the underground pipe?
The northern.
drainage.
The drainage
canal.
ditch.
Drainage coming
Yeah,
down.
I'm not asking to expand it onto that, I'm asking to contract it.
But our curbs are set. So if you could move things because you changed the widths of the road, maybe you could get a little bit of boundary. Curbs themselves are pretty well set without very expensive issues and without political issues between jurisdictions. And it is a political issue between us and Glendale, it's even what we're doing now. Right.
Other
Bring us some
questions?
calming featers.
I can do so.
Put some waterfalls in there. or
I
something.
cannot do so.
Speed bumps.
I cannot do so, for the record.
Mayor and council, other questions on these intersections, things that have been approved, not approved, et cetera?
I have a quick question on the DCR. Will that give a recommendation on whether a light versus a roundabout is appropriate?
Councilmember Allen, yes, it will give, or something we're not thinking of yet. Every option is on the table. DCR does not go in with any baggage associated with it. It looks eyes anew at any sort of alternatives that can be done here, including no changes.
I
The
certainly,
DCR will not answer the base question that the council is gonna have to answer, and deal with. We have a limited amount of money that we can spend on capital improvements, and we have many more projects to spend them on that all create value to our residents. And we've got to go through an analysis that is our analysis, notwithstanding a DCR analysis, of our analysis on how we're going to allocate these funds to accomplish all the different things we have to accomplish. So the DCR is not going to simply answer the questions. It just starts the conversation.
I understand that. I think it's important, though, for me as a council member, when it comes to understanding our capital improvement prioritization, how that factors into the decision-making process.
So just so you understand, you could end up with a recommendation that the safest situation is to put in a traffic circle. But within the allocation of capital money for the next 5 years, there is not sufficient funds to put in that. So you would have to choose a less safe option if you want to do anything. If you want to do nothing, then it'll just stay like it is, which is probably the least safe option. So the question with this safety versus capital priorities is not gonna go away, it just may get phrased slightly differently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Mayor and council, while we're changing up presentations, we hope, and speaking of intersections, we hope you enjoy the new rumble strips just north of our Village Litchfield roundabout. So they were installed today. If you haven't noticed them or felt them, you will.
I noticed them and felt them.
Good.
I heard them twice as I was going northbound.
Yes, ma'am.
In only one direction or in both directions?
They're only one direction, sir. If you're heading southbound on Litchfield Road, they're north of the roundabout, sir.
And then it's both.
Is it
Both directions.
The north side, where honeysuckle would intersect, put them right there first, and then there's two sets heading south.
Yeah, it needs to be on both. If you're gonna do one side, you can't do one side and not do the other. That
Oh,
might
they're at Honeysuckle?
have yourself liability issues.
That's why I didn't drive over them. I came through Village. I didn't drive through that way. All right. Sorry about that.
All right. So we're done with A, and so we'll go on to B. It's Public Works and Maintenance Project updates.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Last month's meeting, we were asked to give an update on the punch list. But before we get into that, I wanted to give just a bigger overall update on the Public Works Department as a whole. So just to recap, everything that Public Works is responsible for, it's a number of things. Public grounds, which includes all of the parks, rights of way, lake, ramadas, park benches, etc. Blue staking, which we average about 20 requests per week. Storm drain maintenance, custodial for all the park restrooms and our city facilities. Special projects such as office moves, really just anything you can think of. Building maintenance, fleet management, and streets, which streets include sidewalks, curb, gutters, street sweeping, the curb painting, signs, marking, pothole repairs. And the personnel structure is made up of 27 full-time employees, and they have an admin assistant assigned to them about 25% of the time. But the bulk of that are 22 maintenance techs. So in October, we identified a number of deferred maintenance issues. I started working with the department to see how administration could help support them and see maybe what tools they were missing, how we could help. And it didn't take too long to realize that it was a bigger issue than just a few tools, that we really needed to get to the root of the problem, why we were having so much deferred maintenance. So we hired an outside public works professional, Troy White, who's now our interim public works director. So he could get in, work with the department, and help us identify areas of improvement. So the key findings of Troy, he's been with them, working with them for about 3 months, is the core function of the department is public grounds maintenance. However, they're pulled in a number of different directions and they're really lacking structure. So the 22 maintenance techs that we have to support all of those responsibilities I just went over, they have a very same or similar job description, but we're lacking a specific skill set for some specific positions such as pavement and facilities management. The crews themselves are great. We have a great public works team. It's not that they are lacking in their roles at all. It's just we need a couple skilled positions. These crews, they maintain the entire city. They're not assigned geographic zones. So we're really operating under a reactive model. So we have quite a maintenance structure and gap. So for lack of a better term, we have some jack of all trades to meet all of these operational demands, which has really led to all of this deferred maintenance. So the solution to all of this is to really modernize the department and allow them to focus on their core function, which is the public grounds maintenance. So we're changing the name of the department from Public Works to Public Grounds. Currently, our Public Works Director position is vacant. So we're going to reclassify that to a ground superintendent and then establish geographic zone assignments. So each crew is assigned a specific area. They know that area, they own that area, they have pride in that area rather than spreading them out citywide. Now, we also have 3 vacant positions that really every vacant position is an opportunity. So we'll take 2 vacant maintenance tech positions and create 1 facilities maintenance manager that has that specific skill set to maintain our older buildings as well as the new library that we're bringing on, and then eventually a new public works facility. Reclassify 1 to a street superintendent that would be assigned to the city engineer. Reclassify 1 existing maintenance tech who's already doing a lot of this work, but he would be specific to streets and blue staking, and then add 1 admin assistant to help support all of these functions. So the total of number authorized positions stays neutral. We're just taking some authorized positions we currently have and creating more specialized positions. And the personnel costs are increasing by approximately $3,500. So we were able to incorporate some big structural changes, but work within the budget parameters that we have. Now, once this is done, and we have been operating under this structure for a few months, we will want to reevaluate again, because at that time, these crews will have been able to spend all of their effort focused on their core function and make sure that we are meeting the service levels that are expected. Which brings us to our punch list update. So I'm going to have some help with this. Troy's going to give an update on the public works items. Keith will do the roads. And lastly, Randy will do code enforcement, and he has a special rollout, an exciting announcement that we have. So,
Thank you, Paige. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. Again, my name is Troy White, Interim Public Works Director. And it's really been a pleasure to be here. I've enjoyed my time. It's only been 2.5 months, but as Paige said, you have a really great public works staff. They are very hardworking people that work for the city. It's also been a pleasure to work for Paige and Matthew. Working with them has been pretty phenomenal. I've worked in a few different places, and City of Litchfield really is kind of a special place and has its own niche, and it's really kind of an honor to be here, and it's pretty exciting. So on the project list that we have, when I got here towards the end of November, we were right in the middle of going through what I call our event season. So we had the Thanksgiving event, then we went right into the holiday event, and then into the Native American event, and then into the Trout Derby. So those just kind of happened back to back to back. It's important because for the first time, we decided that we needed to track those hours. How much time is Public Works putting into those special events that takes us away from our core duties? And what we found out, exclusive of overtime, we put in about 481 staff hours into those 4 events during the regular work week. So that's equivalent to 20 people for 1 week that we lose doing their normal duties. And as Paige said, one of the challenges that we really have, one of the first things that I noticed is that it seems like the core function and who we hire when we bring people on are really grounds maintenance techs. We do have a mechanic that we've hired that does his stuff, and we've got one of those staff members that's really assigned to custodial work that takes care of all the city buildings, the library, the restrooms, and stuff like that. So during that time, during those special events, that was a really hard hit for us. So getting through this punch list kind of slowed us down as we're losing those staff to take care of those special events. And that's just, it's the same everywhere. It's the same in any municipality, but it's worthy of noting that those do take more time than people really think that it takes to get through those. And again, if we take if we start on one end of town, just paying attention to grounds, to mowing, to trimming, to edging, to clipping, to sweeping. If we start at one edge of town and we go all the way around to the other edge of town, back to our starting point, it will take all the guys 1 week to do that. And then they're starting over again from the beginning spot because you have to do this on a weekly basis. So what that means is all these other things that we're doing, the facilities that we're keeping up, the blue staking that we're keeping up, all those other things that Paige mentioned that falls underneath Public Works. As those things come up, it pulls even more time away from that. So even though it takes all the staff to get all the way around in 1 week just to do the basic minimum, they get pulled away a lot to do these other things. And that's why this modernization is really going to help allow the grounds crews to focus on their core thing. And that's why we're seeing the list that we're seeing too, is because we're what I like to call, we're being ruled by the tyranny of the urgent. In other words, when something breaks, we go fix it. We're not doing the long-term maintenance. There has been no quarterly maintenance. There's been no monthly maintenance. There's been no semi-annual maintenance, and there's been no annual maintenance. There's different things that you have to do at different times, like store drains on a semi-annual basis. Not really taking place. It just isn't the time to do that because they're spending all their time just trying to do the landscaping and get around in 1 week. So this modernization is really going to, I think, go a long way in solving that issue. So if we're looking at the list, I still have to say, and like I said, the staff is phenomenal because we still closed out 42 items on that list, through that period of time. So we got 42 items closed out. We got 26 in process. And you're probably going to see this list kind of speed up a little bit from here now that we're out of the event phase for a little bit. I think there's a couple more coming up, smaller ones, but you're probably going to see that speed up a little bit. So we got 26 in process. 13 of those things on our list are not ours. They're either APS or the school districts, which we're working with them and we're trying to follow up with them, which has been a challenge. With APS, they're very slow to respond for a lot of these lights being out, but hopefully we're going to continue to work with them and see a little bit more rapid response out of that for some of these streetlights. But 13 of the things on the list are not even ours, so to speak. So what that's going to leave us with after we do these 26 that are in process, we'll have 36 that we haven't started on, that we still need to work on somewhere as we find time in between everything else that the crews are working on. But again, just the fact that we got 42 closed and we got 26 in progress with everything else that they've got playing is just a testament to their dedication and the hard work that they do, because it's pretty phenomenal the amount of work that these guys put out. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions, Councilman Clare?
I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you coming in and diving in and helping give some guidance with your experience to modernize or change the structure. I think it's been necessary and needed and great to have fresh eyes put something together. Since you've been here, I noticed that areas are cut and trimmed at the same time and everything looks like it's cleaned up and we don't look like we're half put together. So I just greatly appreciate you grabbing hold of this and Paige putting this together as well, or taking lead on this and making sure something has happened. So it'd be great to have a plan to get ahead of all this deferred maintenance and things that have been lacking for a period of time and bring this city back up to the way that it needs to look. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to extend my appreciation also. One of the things that became obvious as we looked at this issue over the last 6 months or so is the amount of land that the Public Works crew has been responsible for maintaining has increased dramatically over the last 10 or 15 years. It's increasing again with the Loma development of the Hilltop. So we basically were trying to run Public Works with double the amount of land, probably with double the amount of Public Works people, but with no organizational skills to get those people organized in a way that was most effective, given the change that we had in the circumstances. So we could notice differences in the way we were maintaining our public areas, and it's not surprising given the changes that have come up and the fact that we needed to really rethink how we marshal those resources so that we get the work done. So I appreciate you coming in from outside and helping us do that. Looking forward to seeing the procedures that you put together. And I think those will help us with other projects in the future for other departments. So we appreciate all your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, we have a few more slides here.
I was about ready to hit this gavel.
Oh, while he was coming up, I would agree. I'd like to thank Troy for all the great work that he's done. So Troy is a contract employee through IPM or Tim Pickering. So he's done a great job with us, and we appreciate the time that he's here and would certainly recommend him to any other entity that's looking for some interim public works direction. He's done a great job for us. And I would also like to thank Paige. When we got into these public works issues and realized what was going on, Paige volunteered and asked if she could take on the challenge of fixing this department. She's done a great job with that, with getting it turned around. As we appreciate all the good work that she's done. Thank you. Keith.
Thank you, Matthew. Mayor, members of council, 35 street issues identified. The combination of asphalt and striping and a few other things. This kind of carries over a little to what I have in the regular meeting, but we have 105 total street sections that are identified that's going to get worked on as part of the pavement management. These 35 street issues are in a number of ways a part of that overall list, and some things have been moved up. Many of them were crack seal. After a review of some of the streets, like the entrance off of Dysart, we're going to mill and overlay it. So upgraded from a crack seal to mill and overlay. These street issues are none of them are completed because they'll get done in a big swoop. As we know, last month, council approved $600,000 for the pavement management. Most of these street segments are on that chunk. We'll get the rest on the next allocation when we do things like PMM and slurry overlay when it gets a little warmer. 25 of these are crack seal and 4 pavement management or PMM, which is a slurry, and 2 of those sections I mentioned are going to be a mill and overlay. 3 contractors have been solicited to give us costs. We are running into a little bit of a wall. I would say construction is feast or famine, and I think a lot of other cities in the West Valley, East Valley and West Valley right now are getting similar work done, so they're busy. 2 of them have said that 2 of the 3 contractors have said it's going to take a little longer to not only get a price, but also to commit to doing the work. So we're holding a lot of weight. The 3rd contractor, which is Roadrunner, who did a lot of the pavement work the last time around, did the asphalt replacement over here and Maya, Inca, Tinter, and then over there in Vista Verde. They did a very good job. So I'm hoping to get their price any day now. Once we get that, they're on co-op. So the co-op can, we have a cooperative language and job order contract, so we can move right into construction without having to bid. So, all right. If you have any questions, be happy to answer.
Questions? Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I'd asked the manager about this today. You had, I think we approved you fixing the intersection of Canada and Litchfield Road with new asphalt, that whole intersection. It's today. Okay. I know I've seen it somewhere. We don't want to do that if we're going to have hundreds of trucks a day for many weeks moving dirt out of that pile on the Agua Fria construction site. We need to coordinate those somehow so it's after those trucks have damaged the roads.
Mr. Vice Mayor, so there's 2 intersections on the agenda item. Most of the work at Litchfield and Camelback's on the northeast corner, and a lot of it's concrete. The other intersections, all of Dysart and Camelback. So a mile that way. So we'll still get the standard trucks that are coming down from the plants, but it won't be the 200 trucks a day coming off of the hilltop within 4 weeks. Well, starting in March.
Any other questions?
Just say thank you again. Getting this together. I'm looking forward to seeing it all come together with a plan.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. We have another presentation that looks like.
I, like Joe, am paid by the word, so I try to talk as much as I can. So on the code enforcement issues, there were 10 issued. I'm gonna say that these are all our initial lists, but we expect a new list coming soon. It's actually already started, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So most of these were landscape violations. 3 were open and shut. 3 were somewhat in progress. It's hard to say because, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but there's a situation where our code doesn't technically require front yard landscaping. So some folks used to have front yard landscaping and now have dirt. We're trying to see if we can work our way through some sort of code interpretation to say that you must have landscaping in your front yard and dirt is not landscaping. There was one abatement attempt. The owner has passed away, so that one's a little bit on pause. There was one with a unregistered car that was parked in one spot, and one remaining that is a sidewalk case that is still open as we speak. So that's our initial list. However, go ahead. Engage LP. When this all came to a head and we started having real deep conversations about this, we knew we needed to find a permanent solution, and we know we needed to find a solution for our residents as well. So for about 3 months' time now, several of us on city staff have been spending a lot of time learning how to put things on app stores and Google Play stores and rewriting web pages and building apps from the ground up. So the app is Engage LP. It went live this morning. It works. We already have folks using it. So we already have added to this list of concerns, and we're thrilled.
That's great.
Because there's so much that we can do, but with 7,016 residents here, there's so much more that we don't see. So there's already folks using it, as I mentioned. What this does is it requires you to choose a location. If that location is outside the city, you shall not pass. We had to map the exact footprint of the city, which roads are ours, which ones are not ours, in order for someone to submit something. We even have a category that's called, do I live in Litchfield Park city limits? So anyone can click this, read up about why, even though they have the zip code, they don't live in the city. We anticipate when someone calls us, we can have the option to put that information right into the system. You can submit as yourself, you can submit anonymously. If you try to submit something that's already been submitted, you can subscribe to that other person and you can both get updates on this sort of thing. If we have abuse of the system, which may happen, but we can have that addressed independently of this sort of time frame. The other thing that does have, it has a number of categories that aren't us. If you say, I need to contact Avondale PD, it will give you the phone number, it'll give you the website, because that's not something, a service we offer, but we still want to make sure we have that. Do I need a fishing license? Where do I get a business license? I have issues with an illegal car, bad landscaping. You can take a photo, you don't have to take a photo. So we try to give as many options as we can. This list is the second most amount of items I could find on this platform. The platform is from the same folks that do our website and the same folks that do our agendas. So it's ready, it's out there. We call it Engage LP. Every city has a different version of saying the same thing. And we look forward to the 7 of you, our 7,000 residents, as well as we do feel as though that this is an opportunity for city staff to be the eyes and ears as we see something, snap the photo. Oh, thank you. I have a great example of this in my timing with the city of Glendale. I was working on the pedestrian bridge over 101, saw graffiti, took the picture. Graffiti crew showed up within 2 hours because they have dedicated graffiti crew in Glendale. That's the Glendale problem. And the problem was addressed, the issue was closed, and on we went. So this does come with new responsibilities. I have the pleasure of doing this part. I don't have the responsibilities that come after the fact. I'm sorry for those that do, but this is mostly geared for public works, for code enforcement, a little bit with Parks and Rec, Community and Recreation Services for Tricia, that they're essentially assigned these sorts of opportunities to address. The system does not auto-generate, it is not a robot, and that is intentional. So if someone submits something, it takes one of us to go in, acknowledge the request, and provide updates and provide closure to that situation. That's a lot of information to throw at you very quickly. Happy to answer any questions about the app.
Randy, I have a question. Does the first person who downloaded the app get a prize?
So a lot of us already downloaded the app a few weeks ago.
When it went live to the public? Sorry, Randy. you're-
It's okay. Always looking for that 8 hours off. So I'll tell you, always in second place though, let me tell you. I will tell you, we know who the first person was. He didn't submit anonymously, so we can certainly reach out to him to actually celebrate his inquiry, which was a good one. He was at Papa Paul's. He noticed the bollards for the golf carts had been hit and were gone. He said, "Hey, we need to replace this." I said, "Okay, no problem."
I really appreciate that the city did this. I think that coming from Troy's tyranny of the emergency perspective to something that's shifting us from a reactive stance to a proactive stance, I think is a great posture for the city. So I really appreciate that you guys have moved in that direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Nice to see us getting into the 19th plus century.
Yes,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Good job. All right, I think that brings the work study to an end, so we'll gavel it closed.